I brought Mega Meganium and Mega Dragonite to 2 Flash tournaments hosted by the legendary Blunder. Now, we don't actually know what the abilities are for these Legend ZA Pokemon, so the intrepid coders at Pokemon Showdown have taken some creative liberties. The tournament was an 8-round single elimination tournament. You play 8 games, the first time you lose, you're eliminated. At the end, one remaining person would be crowned the winner. Let's meet the first team. Mega Meganium gains 10 base attack, 15 in both defenses, and a whopping 60 points of special attack. It also gains the secondary typing Fairy, which is an improvement, although Fairy and Grass don't have the best synergy. We don't know what its actual ability is going to be. Every fan game ever made has predicted Triage, but the powers that be at Smogon have decided that for now, Mega Meganium gets Flower Veil, which is pretty good. It gives Meganium immunity to status conditions, which is nice for a defensive tank. Meganium has a pretty wide move pool, especially since in Legend ZA it got both Dazzling Gleam and Earth Power as coverage. Giga Drain is probably the stab move you're most likely to use, but it also gets other options such as Leaf Storm, Petal Dance, Energy Ball, Solar Beam, etc. It gets a decently wide number of supportive moves. It gets Leech Seed and Synthesis for healing, Aromatherapy to cure status conditions, and Encore for disruption. Meganium has 5 weaknesses, including a quadruple weakness to poison, but it's compensated with 7 resistances, including to common types like Fighting, Ground, and Dark. When I was building Meganium, I wanted to make the most of that massive 143 special attack. With modest and max EVs in special attack, I chose Dazzling Gleam and Earth Power as my primary attacking moves, because the type combination of Fairy and Ground offers excellent coverage. I wasn't sure if I wanted a Grass type move, because the only things that resist both Fairy and Ground are Flying types that resist Fairy, which are Fire Flying, Steel Flying, and Poison Flying. The relevant Pokemon in the meta we're playing are Moltres, Skarmory, Talonflame, and Corviknight, all of which quadruple resist Grass. I'm better off hitting them with Dazzling Gleam. So maybe I could just forego Grass type coverage, but on the other hand, Grass coverage does let me hit Water and Ground types for super effective damage, which could be valuable, and Giga Drain is a source of healing. I was tossing up between Synthesis, Leech Seed, and Giga Drain, and I opted for Giga Drain in the end. In the final move slot, I wanted either Knockoff or Encore. I ultimately opted for Knockoff because Meganium's not that fast, and I thought Knockoff would be more reliable. Now, when it came to team building, the Pokemon that immediately caught my eye was Heatran. Heatran seems like a great partner for Meganium because Heatran resists all 5 of Meganium's weaknesses, and Meganium resists all 3 of Heatran's weaknesses. So I thought they should very reliably be able to cover for each other. I was suspicious that my opponents would just switch Corviknight or Skarmory into Meganium over and over again, and Heatran is a great way to trap and kill those annoying birds. I opted for a specially defensive Heatran with Magma Storm, Earth Power, Taunt, and Stealth Rock, and the ability Flash Fire rather than Flame Body so that I could reliably cover Meganium's fire weakness. There were still some Pokemon I was worried about though. Particularly, there were some fire types that I didn't think Heatran would cover, like Moltres, which Heatran can't really hurt, and Cinderace, which can high jump kick Heatran. In addition, I was worried about water types with ice type coverage moves, so it's pretty common for a Pokemon like Greninja, say, to run a water type stab move and then Ice Beam, and that would let you hit Heatran and Meganium. So I decided I wanted a bulky water type. I was tossing up between Toxapex here and Alomomola. Alomomola is very nice because it allows you to pivot. I settled on Toxapex because I kind of wanted a poison type to clean up T-Spikes if they got set on my side of the field, and to resist incoming fighting type attacks. If some mad person decided to bring Okidogi, that would make clean work of Heatran and Mega Meganium, but not Toxapex. In hindsight though, I think Toxapex might be too much of a momentum sink for a team like this. In battle, I really missed Mola's ability to flip turn. Toxapex, Heatran, and Meganium gave me a nice Fire, Water, Grass core, but there were 2 types that I didn't have resistances to. Those were Rock and Ghost. I also had 2 ground weak Pokemon and only 1 resistance, so I didn't want to add any more ground weaknesses. And I had to play the hazard game. I needed hazard removal, and I needed hazard setting. I also needed physical attackers. Meganium, Heatran, and Toxapex are all exclusive using special moves, so I added Great Tusk for the rock resist, for the spinning, for decent damage output. It's Great Tusk. It does it all. And I added Scarf, Samurott, Hisui. I was worried that my team was slow. It might still be slow, even after adding Samurott, but the Scarf does help. The other option was to run Black Glasses and Sucker Punch, or Mystic Water and Aqua Jet, but I opted for Scarf because I thought if I can hit first and set a layer of spikes, that sounds even better. The final Pokemon added to the team was Kyurem. I didn't have any setup moves on any of my Pokemon, and I wanted something that could sweep. I like Kyurem, it's strong, it's unpredictable. I went for the loaded dice physical Dragon Dance set, but my opponent doesn't have to know that. There's lots of things it could be, and I'm hoping that will give me an edge in the battles to come. So, that's the team. Let's have a look at my tournament run with Mega Meganium. Okay, they are bringing a Mega Delphox, which is pretty scary. They have 2 flying Pokemon. I kind of like Samurott here because it should outspeed even a Mega Delphox. How fast is Mega Delphox? Very fast. Surely not more than 442 though. Mega Delphox is not quite as fast as a Scarf Samurott, but it's pretty close. It has 134 base speed, giving it a maximum speed stat of 403. Moreover, it has a ridiculous 159 base special attack. So it's a total offensive monster in battle. It does have one weakness though. It's a fire type that cannot hold heavy duty boots. Going into the match, I thought that my number 1 priority was keeping hazards up on the field. Thankfully, I have 3 hazard setters on the team. I didn't really want to lead Heatran because I thought it was fairly likely they'd lead Landorus and I'd have to switch out immediately. And I didn't really like leading Tusk because it loses really badly to Delphox, and I thought they might want to just get the Mega out of the way. That left me with Samurott, who I thought had a pretty good matchup against most of their team. The only matchup it really loses is Raging Bolt, but that's something of an uncommon lead. I began with Hisuian Samurott. We're just going to do the obvious thing and start ceaseless edging. What do we do if this is Choice Scarf? We survive, but it's a bit spooky. I kind of want to flip turn here into Tusk. They also go for U-turn. This is okay. So here's Delphox, and we're expecting them to just go straight into the Mega, which will annihilate me. The hope is that Heatran can handle it. I think that's our best shot, at least. That's what Heatran is here for. Focus Blast is a 2-hit KO, so we don't mind. Levitate is pretty crazy. I'm just going to Magma Storm. Okay, here's Molar. Okay, that's good. They're afraid of Heatran. That gives us an out immediately. I think I just go for Rocks. It seems like getting Rocks up is good. It hurts Mega Delphox really badly to have to deal with Rocks. And since they're going to flip turn anyway and be slower, I may as well just get some kind of progress made, I think. So now every time Delphox comes in, it loses a quarter of its health. They can't really go Corv here because Heatran will destroy it, but they can certainly go Zama, to which I say... Do I say Pix? I might say Pix. It's got Haze. It's either Pix or Meganium. I've got Haze plus Baneful Bunker. I feel like Pix is fine. Okay, here's Corv. They're definitely going to go for the Defog. The other option is to go into Kyurem. I'm scared of Kyurem because if it's Body Press, it actually would hurt me quite a lot. So I can go into Samurott and just click Ceaseless, or I can just go back into Heatran, which I don't mind. I get some leftovers. I can, if I want, just put Rocks back up. I think I'll just do that. Now, there's more PP on Defog than there is on Stealth Rocks, and Corviknight has pressure, so I lose double. However, I think Corviknight's pretty scared of Heatran, and every turn that I stall is a turn that I heal 6% HP with leftovers. They probably want to go into Lando here. I kind of like the Lando switch. They can just go back into Zama, and then I can go back into Pix. I think I kind of win the interaction in that case, because Pix has Regenerator. Okay, here's Raging Bolt. It's not a bad Pokemon to go into Meganium on, but it's also a pretty good Pokemon, I think, to taunt first. It hardly does any damage to me. It doesn't learn Earth Power, right? I'm going to taunt it. Okay, Volt Switch. That's fine. They're just keeping up momentum. Bit annoying, actually. I was hoping they would be slower and go for Calm Mind, but they're pretty quick. They are at least 201 speed, and they did 40% with Volt Switch. Specs? Must be Specs. Okay, Taunt on Molar is good. They probably just have to flip turn. I can either go into Meganium or Pix or Samurott. I kind of like going into Meganium because what are they going to do? Yeah, no, I like going into Meganium. They can flip turn into Delphox and take the Rocks chip, or they can flip turn into Corv and go for the Defog. But I'm just going straight back into Heatran every time they do this. So here we've begun a little switching war, which characterizes the entire battle. As long as I can keep Rocks up on their side of the field, they can't bring Mega Delphox in safely. Therefore, they are heavily incentivized to bring in Corviknight to get rid of the Rocks. However, my Heatran will one-shot Corviknight with Magma Storm if Corviknight stays in. So every time they bring Corviknight into Defog, I can double into Heatran and put Rocks back up. Then they can switch into something that forces Heatran out. I switch into something that Corviknight beats. They go back into Corviknight, and we continue the loop. The game is going to be decided by moments where either me or my opponent can gain a tempo and put the opponent on the back foot. A good way I can do this is by chipping their Corviknight until it's forced to use Roost instead of Defog, which will put me one turn ahead of my opponent. Oh, maybe I should Magma Storm this time. Yeah, in case they get... Well, what are they going to do to me, though? Nah, they'll always switch, I think. And I could go into Tusk. That's really greedy, though, because if they go for Dragon Pulse, I am screwed. I think we just go into Meganium. They Volt Switch, that's fine. We go back into Corv, probably. The Corv is, like, taking Chip. I can also Mega Evolve and go for Knockoff, but I don't really want to. I just want to keep playing the long game and being annoying with Heatran. Here's Lando. I really don't want to let them get rid of the rocks. We know it's U-turn. How much does Earthquake do to picks? It's a 2-hit KO. It's a bit scary. Obviously it destroys me. I think I'm just going into Tusk. I click E. Q. Now what do I do? This is an interesting turn. Because I could double back into Heatran if I think they're going to U-turn into Corv. I could click Headlong if I think they're going to go to Delmise, but I don't really think they are. I'm pretty sure they're going to U-turn. So, do I want to go into Samurott? Do I want to just click Ice Spinner? I'm going to click Ice Spinner. It loses the tempo, but it's relatively safe. Okay, they're going to get me with that Helmet Chip, but their Corviknight is slowly dying. And does Samurott go from this range? No. We're going back into Heatran. We click Magma Storm. Here's Mola. It's going to be a long game. I wish I had Helmet on my picks. If I go into Samurott, they'll go into Summer. That's okay. Let's go into Samurott. I don't want to just make this take all day, you know. They're going to... I'm going to knock this off. So here I've deviated from the plan. Rather than switching straight into Heatran, I decided to knock off the Corviknight, which loses me a tempo. So they're going to be able to defog and switch out before my Heatran can set rocks back up, which might give their Delphox an opportunity to come in. In the moment, I thought it was worth it, because I do decent damage to Corviknight, which means I might be able to win back the tempo when Corviknight roosts, and they can no longer use Corviknight to chip my Great Tusk down, which is important because Great Tusk is my best switch into Landorus, and my only way of removing hazards on my side of the field. In hindsight, though, I'm not convinced it was the best move. I might have been better off just maintaining the pressure, switching straight into Heatran. Defog, and... okay, now... I probably got a bit impatient, but I was getting very impatient. Now they can U-turn quite happily, and I don't have rocks up this time around. We go into Pix. Pix makes it harder for them to go into Delphox, but it does let them go into Raging Bolt. I can go into Tusk on Bolt, on the Volt switch. Yeah, but it's a bit of a scary move. However, I think they're specs, so let's just Baneful Bunker and see what they do. Thunderbolt. Okay, we can go safely into Tusk. Okay, that was a decent switch on their end. If I go into Heatran, they do 2-hit KO me with Focus Blast. How does it do against Pix? Not poorly enough, we go Heatran. Okay, well, I might lose. I got impatient. Here I make the first blunder of the game. I forget that Delphox has Levitate, and I click Earth Power. If I clicked Magma Storm or Stealth Rock, it could have been a massive swing in my favor. Alas. Okay, I don't lose. I'm bad. I'm very bad at this game. I should be fired. They're bad at this game. We're both... Heatran's bad at this game. Everyone involved is bad at this game, which is wonderful. Okay. This is very dubious. I died of Psyshock. So, I go to Samurott. Nice. And I click Ceaseless Edge. And if I miss, I simply lose. The only good move in this position is to switch Samurott into Heatran and keep the pressure up. Unfortunately, clicking a Ground-type move into a Levitate Pokemon has frazzled me, and I Tunnel Vision on Ceaseless Edge. I need Samurott alive because it's my only thing that outspeeds and pressures Delphox. They can Roost. Okay. I can just keep clicking Ceaseless Edge forever if I want. Or I can go into Heatran. They defog. I Stealth Rock. The game continues. They go into Mola. That's fine. I go into Pix. This is interesting. What do I know about this? It's decently fast. It's leftovers. I do have Scold. It's not a Oko. I click Baneful Bunker. I click EQ. Okay. I click Scold. I'm going to call their bluff. I think it doesn't kill. Okay, that's fine. They go into Corv. That's fine. We Scold. Get the burn. Nice. That probably matters. They defog. I Stealth Rock. They go into Mr. Lando. I go into Pix. No. What do I do here? I go into Tusk. I go into Curum. I go into Tusk. They go into Corv. Do they go into Corv? No. I think it's too low. They go into Molar. Okay. I go into Pix. I go into Corv. I go into Heatran. I click Stealth Rock. I click Roost. I click Magma Storm. They go into Molar. I miss. I go into Pix. I don't know, I feel like this is good for me. My Heatran is slowly healing. They go into Lando. I click Baneful Bunker. Don't click Skull. Click Baneful Bunker. They click Rocks. Who would have known that they had Rocks all this time? I click EQ. I click Scold. I don't get the burn. That's okay. I click Baneful Bunker. I click EQ. What do I do here? I think they might have got me. I think they're so incentivized to click U-turn here. But I can't actually afford to risk it, which is a bit sad. Go into Task. How does Kyurem look? I don't know if it's time yet. I don't think it's time yet. Let's just do this. Yeah. Let's get Meganium Mega Evolved. Okay, that's pretty good. And now, the problem is, like, it's so hard to hit Corviknight. I'll take the 3% chip heal from dealing 6% of Corviknight's health with Giga Drain. Yeah. But the thing is, I kill with Gleam, so joke's on them. Now, rocks are permanently up for both of us, which is kind of bad for both of us. I'm quite disappointed that their Lando managed to get rocks. Okay, here's Mega Delphox. I think I have to sack something. Can I sack Heatran now? I think so. Yeah. Or actually, we're fine. We simply miss Magma Storm. Drat. That's very unfortunate. But it's the game that you play when you use Heatran. Now, is Cytruck a guaranteed kill? I believe it is. I think 37 is a low roll. So that's fine. We get to bring in Samurott and flip turn. They sack Lando. That's fine. They have one more life on Delphox. They can bring in Raging Bolt here. And I have to go into Meganium. They go into Zama. But I don't know if I mind them going into Zama. I assume Heavy Slime gets the kill. No, it doesn't. I'm very bulky. Okay. In that case, if I Giga Drain, I heal for like 16%. That's not bad. It's not bad. Okay. And then I kill with Gleam. Ah, they crit. Unfortunate. Do I lose? I don't instantly lose. But I might lose in the long run. The crit looks really bad, but Stone Age was actually a roll to kill anyway, so it might not have even made a difference. My goal now is to maneuver Kyurem in. Probably I need a double switch. I need to preserve Samurott for Delphox. This turn was my last chance to save the game. The only way I can win this game now is with set up Kyurem, so I have to get it in safely. If I stay in as Toxapex and Bolt comes in, I lose. I'm too far behind. But if I switch into Kyurem and someone stays in and attacks, my Kyurem is going to die, and then I lose. So I have to make a hard read. Is my opponent going to stay in, or switch into Bolt? I mean, we click Scold. Okay. We click Baneful Bunker. Specs. So if we click the electric move, we can go into Kyurem if we really want. Okay. Locked into Volt Switch. I'd almost rather sack Toxapex. What do I need Toxapex for? Zama. But if I'm Kyurem and there's Zama, and I'm +1, I kill. So we sack Toxapex. That was bad. I think that was bad. But I think I might have been pinned anyway. Yeah. Okay. Because I think I lose to... Samurai doesn't do enough. Yeah, okay. We Terra Fire. We Dragon Dance. Yeah, I lose to Thunderclap. Drat. That's okay. My opponent played well. And there's no point clicking Scale Shot. We just... Icicle Spear. Oh, we lose to Molar. Okay, that is also the case. Yeah, we Scale Shot. I could have got a crit and 5 hits, and I would have been okay. Okay. Do I kill with a crit? Yes, I do. Do I kill Molar with a crit? Yeah. We knock. Okay. GG. I mean, it was quite a positional game. If I hadn't let Landorus get rocks up, that was probably preventable. Okay, so Meganium, they U-turn, I Gleam. It's only just a roll to kill anyway, so the crit didn't necessarily matter. I don't feel too bad about that. I do feel sad to see my team go. That's the end of Meganium's tournament run. I think I'll refine the team and maybe bring it again if there's another tournament, because we want to do Meganium proud, and I think it's got more potential than I was able to bring out in this battle. However, there's another tournament. There were 2 on the day. I may have lost the first one, but there's still time for redemption. Game Freak has a bad habit of giving Mega Evolutions to Pokemon that already have amazing base stat totals. Mega Dragonite has 700 BST, which is higher than most box art legendaries. Interestingly, it actually loses 10 base attack, but in exchange it gains 20 defense and 25 special defense. It gains 20 speed, putting it at a nice 100 speed tier, and it gains 45 special attack. When Dragonite grew wings on its head, it became a monstrous special attacker. Dragonite has always had an amazing special move pool, to the point that Special or Mixed Dragonite has had some viability throughout the years. In particular, Special Dragonite is good on Rain. Rain gives Dragonite a reliable stab move in Hurricane, as well as making Thunder always hit, and boosting the power of Hydro Pump by 50%. Mega Dragonite can boost these moves even more with its ability SOUL-HEART. I think this is a pretty unlikely ability for Mega Dragonite to actually get, because it's Morgana's signature. So, let's enjoy it while it lasts. SOUL-HEART is a special Moxie. It gives Dragonite +1 special attack every time it takes a KO. Naturally then, I put Dragonite on Rain. I went with a pretty simple set, Timid Max, with Hurricane, Thunder, Hydro Pump, and Roost. Now, Rain kind of builds itself. There's only a few choices you get to make. Pelipper is the premier Rain setter. I chose Barraskewda as my Swift Swim Pokemon. The other option is Basculegion. Basculegion is bulkier and has a better type, but Barraskewda is faster and stronger. Iron Treads is pretty standard on Rain as a fast spinner and hazard setter. Raging Bolt is an excellent sweeper with Thunderclap. And then in the last slot, I chose Ogerpon Wellspring. There are other choices for this slot. I could have put on Zapdos or Tornadus Therian, both of which are pretty good. But I figured that Dragonite was doing a similar thing to those 2 Pokemon, so they were the ones I should cut. Ogerpon is nice because Ivy Cudgel gets a 50% power boost in the rain, and Water Absorb is an excellent way to stop my opponent abusing the rain with strong water type attacks of their own. It's a pretty straightforward team. Let's see how it performs. I kind of locked in with these battles, and my commentary lapsed, so I will try to pick up my own slack from the editing room. My first battle with the Dragonite team was against a Mega Clefable. Mega Clefable asks the controversial question, what if Clefable could transform into Togekiss? It turns out that this is okay but not great. Gaining the flying typing is actually kind of a bad thing for Clefable, and Clefable's BST is low enough that the stats don't help it as much as they could. Interestingly though, the Mega Stone is actually quite a good item for Clefable, even if it doesn't Mega Evolve. Pokemon with a choice item and trick can shut Clefable down completely, but Mega Stones, uniquely, cannot be removed from a Pokemon by any means. This means that even if Clefable never clicks the Mega Evolution button, holding the Mega Stone is going to be optimal anyway. Apart from Clefable, the enemy team is a pretty standard balance with Ursaluna. I mindlessly clicked Pelipper for my lead, and the battle began. How does one play this? I think we have to go to Treads. Yes? Sub. Interesting. My opponent leads with a Sub DD Dragon Darts Dragapult, but unfortunately for them, it just can't break through my Iron Treads. Apparently it goes with Shadow Ball, but I think it's fine. I've got Thunderclap. It's just Dragon Dancing. Good job, Treads. Mola. They've got Cinderace, so there's not that much point going for Stealth Rock, but Ogerpon looks really good, I think. Nice. Okay, and then this thing seems really good with SD. I was fairly convinced that I would just win on the spot with Ogerpon. Tinglu, Ursaluna, and Cinderace are all weak to water. Unfortunately, my opponent had a few tricks up their sleeve. Okay, they get the Para. They get the full para. They get the tickle. ASD again. They get another full para. ASD again. 30% body slam paralysis into 2 full paras in a row was pretty unlucky, but I probably should have cut my losses and switched out, rather than just letting Ogerpon faint. However, this actually isn't too bad for me, because I've burned their Terror, and now I get to switch back into Pelipper and set the rain back up with Tempo. I kinda wanna just Hurricane. No, they don't have a flying resist. They might stay in and try to get the slow. Okay, they didn't. We can U-turn. What does Dragonite do to Tinglu? Nothing. Okay, it's annoying. Oh, but it's pre-Mega. Maybe I knock this off first. I feel like Tinglu's really annoying. I kind of like knocking off Molar. We just Hurricane. I mean, he has to do that. I feel like Sack Tread seems good here. And then we can bring in Dragonite. Yeah? Yeah. Sucks if we miss Hydro, but I'm going for it. Nice. Big damage onto Tinglu. This should kill as long as we hit. My RNG is not going well this game, but we move on. We miss Hydro. Okay, we click Hydro again. Now the rain goes down. Okay, payback. I mean, we just go back into Pelipper. This is kind of a tragic game. Okay, I feel like we have to just... Do we let Pelipper go? I mean, I kind of feel like we have to. What does this do when they've got a Molar? Maybe Barraskewda sucks and we can sack it. Maybe SOUL-HEART Hurricane. Maybe we can hit our moves. Buff on special attack is really good. Clefable. Oh, Clefable. It can Thunderwave me, which is a bit annoying. If it's like Life Orb Clefable, Moonblast could kill, but there's not much I can do about that. I just have to go for it. Tinglu wakes up. Cinderace is a bit of a problem. Maybe it can't hurt me at all, actually. Especially in the rain. We'll see. If I can get like a Hurricane Confusion or a Hurricane Crit, both of those would be phenomenal. Mega. I guess I just lose then instead. Do I? It's the 11th hour. I'm down 2 Pokemon to their 4, and I have only 4 turns of rain left. My opponent sacks Clefable. It's now or never. My only chance for winning is to reverse sweep with Raging Bolt. The one saving grace is that I still have Terra available. My Terra-type Fairy is great against Tinglu because it gives me a Dark Resistance and removes my weakness to ground. However, it does also remove my resistance to fire, so I'm not sure if I should commit to it against Cinderace. Unfortunately, they reveal Low Kick. I click Terrestrialize, it's better late than never. Their Tinglu is just about to wake up, so if I don't get the kill here, it'll go straight back to sleep and heal back to full health. I consider switching into Barraskewda to beat their Tinglu, but I would be sacrificing my Calm Mind and my Booster Energy boosts, and they would simply switch into Molar, and I would lose. I have to go for the win here, which is going to require a bit of luck. They have Sleep Talk and they 2-hit KO my Bolt. If they hit Payback or Earthquake with both of their Sleep Talk, I lose. However, if they hit Rest at least once, I think I win the battle. Okay, so if they Sleep Talk Payback, then I'm out of luck. Or that. I win one. But there's no rest for the wicked. I go immediately into my round 2 battle. Against Mega Chandelure. That could be good for me. Mega Chandelure has a special attack stat of 175, which is higher than threats like Ultra Necrozma and Calyrex Shadow Rider. It also has Magic Guard, which makes it immune to the Stealth Rocks that would otherwise cripple it. However, that's where the good stuff ends. The rest of Chandelure's stats are very mid. And because it's a fire type, it matches up quite badly against my rain team. Unfortunately, Tyranitar's Sandstream and Slowking's Chilly Reception are both able to get rid of my rain, so this battle is going to be a certified Weather War. Tyranitar is annoying. If they lead Tyranitar into my Pelipper, I think it's good for me. Okay, so this thing is going to have its special attack go crazy. I just want to switch out, even if I'm sacking Treads, Galarian Slowking, but this is actually not bad for me because I threaten it pretty hard. Also, don't they get screwed by Stealth Rocks a bit here? Well, they also have 5 ground weaknesses, so the only thing they can switch into safely is Dragonite. So I'm quite liking Earthquake here. Their Slowking survives on 1% HP and Chilly Receptions into Dragonite. But unfortunately for them, I have Ice Spinner on this, so we click Ice Spinner. Agility, but click Ice Spinner again. Interesting. Do you think they have Roost? Surely not. So it turns out it's not Mega Chandelure at all, it's Mega Dragonite. However, this means that they have normal Chandelure on their team, which I think is quite bad. So I'm not too unhappy about this turn of events. So it's not Mega Chandelure. I was wrong. I got baited a bit. Okay, Volcanion. This thing can Earth Power, but maybe I'm not that afraid of Earth Power? Okay, I'm a bit afraid of Earth Power. Nah. I would kill. I would simply win. Grafaiai comes in, but it's much too frail to stay in. I would simply Thunderbolt. And my Thunderbolt hits Tyranitar for negligible damage. Okay. Probably Ogerpon time. Yeah, like Ivy Cudgel. It's pretty good. They have to go into Dragonite to resist it. It might not be enough, because... Or they can Terra. That works. Okay, Terra Fairy, huh? If I make Weather Rain... I don't have a water type move in my Pelipper, so it doesn't actually help me. I can... There is not rain. If it's sand, I can simply liquidate anyway. I clean up the Tyranitar with Barrascuda, but then I get caught off guard by Scarf Chandelure. I can simply liquidate anyway. Barrascuda is even squishier than I thought it would be. I can U-turn. With a little bit of pivoting, I finally get my Mega Dragonite into position. My opponent's Grafaiai just barely survives the hurricane. Unfortunately for them, it dies to confusion. Calm Mind Raging Bolt is strong enough to muscle past their Galarian Slowking, and almost strong enough to knock out Chandelure as well. We end the game in a Mega Dragonite mirror match. Okay, and then to win, we have to hit Hurricane. Which we succeed in doing. Fortune felt like it was on my side in that one, so I was feeling pretty good going into round 3. We're facing Sun. Mega Pyroar is very bland. It gains plus 20 to all of its stats except HP, moving them up from pretty bad to kind of okay. It's saved on Showdown by the ability Drought, which makes it a decent centerpiece to Sun teams. Although realistically it's probably just a worse version of Mega Charizard Y. I don't know how this works. This one's too technical for me. If their Sunset is Pyroar, then I kind of like Ogerpon lead here. I think it's good into most things. I am happy clicking Power Whip. Okay, there's a Wish. I Swords Dance on the Protect. Either the Wish does nothing, because they switch into something where they could have just switched last turn, or I get an SD. Okay, now I am faster, yes, unless there's Scarf, but that's kind of crazy. Power Whip in the calc is exactly 100% minimum. I'm going to play rough. Good job, Ogerpon. Here's Pyroar. So, if the sun goes up, I still Oko. We click the funny button then. Okay, they become faster than me in Wisp. This is fine though. If I Terra, I Terra. Because I'm like pretty tough to deal with here. That's okay. Power Whip is a kill. They're just gonna switch around me. But I think I'm gonna go switch back into Mola here, right? Okay, well, that was... Perhaps that was foretold. I go into Pelipper, I actually power up the Walking Wake's Hydro Steam, but maybe I don't mind. The other option is to go into Bolt and Dragon Pulse, which is okay, but a little scary. It's because I haven't used the Terra yet. Then we just go Pally and U-turn. But I kind of like this, because if they hit the sun up, all my moves are still KOs. Hurricane becomes really inaccurate in the sun. So does Thunder. I think I take the 50-50. I mean, it's not bad. Here's the sun. I would simply set up the rain. Okay, they would simply set up the hail. We have a trade of weathers. I kind of like knockoff. But I also like U-turn more, so we're going to U-turn. So I U-turn, and we go into trades. And this way, they can't go into Pyroar safely. They can go into Wake. If it specs, Wake certainly kills. Is it worth sacking trades to get 50% on Wake? They go into Mola, okay. I don't dislike rocks here. I know they've got an Excadrill, but it kind of cripples their... I like it. It cripples their Pyroar until they can spin. If they can't go into Drill, and they can't go into Pyroar, they kind of have to go into Wake, right? Okay, maybe they're Air Balloon? Are they Scarf? I'm still faster if they're Scarf. Are they Sash? They're Terra Ghost. Interesting. But... I don't mind. because I just put the rocks back up now. I get 2 crits. 2 crits with 2 flip turns. Okay, and now we simply sack treads. We go into Molar, we go into Pelipper, and we U-turn into Barraskewda. Yes, yes, yes. They wish. We simply close combat. I thought it was okay to lock into a fighting type move, but I forgot about Excadrill being Terra Ghost. They didn't crit their flip turn. Tragic for them. They have to go into Gloking, I think. But Gloking is going to be tough to beat because I'm locked into moves that don't beat Gloking. They're going to drill. Ah, because it's a ghost type. True. I messed up. Can't stop the spin. How does this work? Okay, this is pretty bad. I'm on a throne. Maybe I actually just go into Pelipper? Hydro Pump really not kill. Oh, it's a ghost. Okay. I believe you. I believe you. Leftovers. Well, they got the rocks off, which is a bit tragic. Hurricane. Now that my opponent has rocks up, I'm going to need to make every turn count. I maneuver Dragonite in and try to make some progress. They don't have a thunder resistance anymore. I get a lucky para on Gloking, but Pyro comes in and my Dragonite's attacks go from perfect accuracy to 50%. Okay, but can they kill me with something? With Dark Pulse? Hyper Voice? No? I think we go for it. They got me. Okay, this is kind of a pivotal turn because if I don't Thunderclap and they Draco, I almost certainly lose the game. But it looks kind of tough to Thunderclap here. It's got to be done. Raging Bolt once again shows that it is not afraid of Galarian Slowking. Or a crit, that'll do it. Pelipper's down, Pyro's still in. My Barraskewda is going to be mostly useless now. By the same token, all of my Dragonite's attacks are going to be incredibly inaccurate for the rest of battle. This one might be up to Raging Bolt. I have to click 50% Hurricane, because otherwise I lose to Wake. That one is fine. I knock out a Lomomola, but their Walking Wake is taking a KO here. I decide that Dragonite has done its job. Time to win some Thunderclap 50-50s. This one's a real nail biter. So I'm clicking Pulse because I think they're going to roar. Yes, okay. And does Barraskewda win? Yes. No, I have to stall at the sun. Okay, well, let's do that then. We win. We win. Raging Bolt has carried me to an unlikely victory, putting me in the top 32. Okay. 3 wins with Dragonite Rain. Unfortunately for me, it's the Dragalge stall team. I saw this and I was very afraid of it. Mega Dragalge is slow, strong, and incredibly bulky. And, unfortunately for the world, it gets Regenerator. This one I actually think is a good prediction for its real ability, but I'm crossing my fingers that it doesn't get Regenerator, because if it does, Stall is going to go crazy. Needless to say, I was not pleased with my round 4 matchup. Could be the end, because I don't think I know how to beat Stall. I think we need to make sure we preserve Pelipper. That's very important. I wish we had Encore on Ogerpon. That would be really good. But we don't, so they probably just want to Mega Evolve straight away. I'd be surprised if it's faster than me. Odds that they're like max speed Dragalge, like 0%. My first order of business was figuring out what moves Dragalge is running. It definitely has Flip Turn, and it's revealed Dragon Tail, so it's got 2 coverage moves to work with. We can't be too precious with our Bolt. We could consider Terra. It's got Regenerator. I don't know how to make this stuff stick. I don't think the Terra Fairy is good. I can switch to Treads. Should I switch to and see if they go for the Draco? Should I just take the pulse damage? I want to take the pulse damage. Okay, there's going to Blissey. That's fine. So, this thing is annoying, but we can go back into Treads and click Stealth Rock. And here we go into Dragonite, I think. And we click. How much damage does this do to Blissey? Like nothing? Absolutely nothing. Para? This doesn't really matter. It could matter if they get full parried. I don't want to let Ogerpon get Thunderwaved is the problem. That sounds like a way to lose. I mean, Treads is limited, or I can go into Barraskewda. Maybe I have to go into Ogerpon. Here's Dragalge, but we click Sword Stance. Okay, that is not enough, unfortunately. But they can't kill me either, and it's a 2-hit KO. Dragonite does so much. I think we will get more turns. Toxic on Pelipper is fine. I don't mind. Friggin' Treads. Okay, and now we click Ice Spitter in case they decide to go into Gliscor. I feel like it's not a bad idea. So we enter the basic loop of the game. I have strong special attackers, but they have a Blissey. I have Stealth Rocks, but they have Defog Corviknight. I could break them open with Ogerpon, but Dragalge walls it. The game is going to be won on tempo, double switches, and finding those key turns where a hard read can break my opponent's team open or cripple mine for good. Okay, this is a new scenario. Can click Hurricane here, but I feel like it doesn't do enough. I would like to say a humble thank you to the fast forward button for sparing me the agony of reliving the full stall experience. See, it's close on the Ivy Cudgel. If I tear it, it's almost a KO, but close is not a KO, so we go into Treads. I enter the denial phase of grief, desperately searching for damage calcs that don't really exist. So what if I'm like +6? Can I 2-hit KO Blissey? Yes. How many boosts do I need? I need many. I need to be +5. My opponent takes great joy in giving me false hope before switching into Unaware Clodsire and shattering my Raging Bolt's dreams. It confirms basically that it's Unaware. Ogerpon is probably my single best tool in this matchup. It beats Blissey, it beats Clodsire, it beats Gliscor, it kind of beats Corviknight, and it absolutely shuts down Dondozo. Most Dondozos on stall run Curse, Rest, Sleep Talk, Liquidation, so it literally cannot damage Ogerpon. All I have to do is get through Dragalge with Ogerpon intact. Unfortunately, that is much easier said than done. Spend a while thinking that they think that I think that this is my turn to make a move, when in fact it's definitely not. Give it 10 more seconds. Go into Treads anyway. Back into Ogerpon. Go into Treads anyway. Click Earthquake. Click Stealth Rock. Okay, interesting. I get a tempo. Go into Bolt. Down goes Treads. The free switch that this gives me is going to make turn 73 feel like turn 72 all over again. I think I lose this in the long run. I don't think my team is built to beat stall. Okay, and now, because we finally got the chip on the Dragalge, we still don't do a KO. We click Terran Water Ivy Cudgel. I make my move, but it's the wrong time. Ogerpon gets poisoned, and now my best Pokemon is on a timer. But they have to switch. My opponent does have to give something up, so they sacrifice Corviknight. Unfortunately, even though they've lost their hazard removal, I've lost my hazard setting. So, rocks are up on both sides of the field for both of us, but they're much more crippling for me. Even worse, I'm forced to sacrifice Pelipper. I enter the I wish I was anywhere but here phase of grief. If I switch my physical attackers in to beat Blissey, I'll just be giving Dragalge a free switch. I decide it's time to throw a Hail Mary and try to overpower Blissey with Dragonite. I'm going to need to get lucky with Thunder Paralysis and Hurricane Confusion. They use all 8 of their soft-boiled PP, but I couldn't quite get there. I can switch around, maybe get another kill or two, but I'm living on borrowed time. This was the final game in my tournament run with Mega Dragonite. I just couldn't get through stall. However, as the #1 worldwide fan of Skrelp, I can't be too sad to see Dragalge win. I had a good time. It was a fun tournament. Depending on my schedule, I may enter another one. That's all I have for you today. Shout out again to Blunder. The tournament's really fun. You can participate yourself if he does another one. So make sure you subscribe to Blunder. Thank you to all my amazing channel members, my hundreds of new subscribers. It's really nice to see the channel growing so much. That's all for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.